I love it. I love how it goes off on its own. I used to have to do that by myself. Well, I don't know if I'm going to expect anybody on here because this is giving me a little bit of trouble today. Um, because I am traveling, Facebook is trying to tell me um, they're verifying my identity. So I could not necessarily post like I needed to. Verify my identity. See, look, I'm trying to do this from my phone. It won't let me necessarily do that. I normally can share on my page, on TFTF's page. This isn't even posting where it's supposed to post right now. So that's just odd. Um, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I may not be on here long just because I know there's no audience necessarily. A personal page, it's on here, but I don't really do Healing Tuesday on my personal page. And it won't let me share it from my personal page. But I'll go forward and see what happens. Tonight during Healing Tuesday, I want to talk about um, denied access. We're still on the series Fighting for Fatherhood. Let me introduce myself. I'm sorry. I am Dr. Torri J. I'm the founder and CEO of the Fatherless Generation Foundation. And this is what we call Healing Tuesdays, where we help connect the dots to some of your conflict, your pain, your trauma that's stemming from your fatherless journey. Um, if you are watching this in replay, please put replay in the box and then in the comment. And then if if by any chance you're watching and you know somebody needs to hear this, go ahead and share it. Share it on your page, share it on your wall, all of that. So interesting how tonight, of all nights, this is this restream is cutting up on a sister. Um, I want to be very, very clear as I talk about this tonight. I know some people are going to want to talk about it from a custody court aspect. I'm always going to spin it in a way where it stems back and it goes back to your emotional fatherless journey and things of that nature. Even when I'm talking about the aspect of denied access, people will call it parental alienation. People will call it um, a lot of different things. Parental alienation is one of the terms that is used, and it's not often used within the African American community. That's why I'm actually doing something that's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to announce that. But I want to tonight really talk about the fight for custody, denied access, but I'm going to talk about it from the trauma perspective. I'm going to talk about it tonight from what some people would call daddy issues. I'm going to talk about it from that perspective. You guys, you're going to have to bear with me because I am like literally, ah, edit privacy. Why is see, my Facebook page literally had it like locked. Only I could see it. I'm trying to figure out who actually saw it. Edit privacy. It keeps, no, I want it public. It won't let me make it public. I'm telling you. Interesting. Now I can share it. Boom. Um, Now I can share it. What was that about? And it's only letting me share it. Like, write a post. Sheesh. And I know there's an expectation that this is going to be up on TFGF's page. You wouldn't believe what Facebook does when you're traveling. Like I had to send my ID. They wanted me to send my ID. I did not send my ID. They're going to send me a letter in the mail to confirm I'm who I say I am because I'm traveling. I kind of appreciate that, but then I don't. It's like people travel. But anyway, I want to talk about daddy issues a little bit. Now, the funny thing is, daddy issues has always been something that's been perceived as an issue that women have and only women. But daddy issues aren't really just about women. For some reason, someone used this term daddy issues, and I actually use it for my podcast. I've got daddy issues. But daddy issues are just not about women or associated with women. It's been perceived that daddy issues are about the dysfunctional relationships women have with men. Men have daddy issue relationships with women and mommy issues with women. So that can be a double edged sword. And it typically, when we're talking about daddy issues, it tends to point the finger at women, that they have unresolved issues, that they're supposedly, they have these daddy issues that they have not dealt with. And so then they are drawn to older men, and they have bad relationships all around. And it's all these different things that go along with it. But daddy issues just don't only impact women, although that's what people say. There are fatherless men who are walking around with very similar trauma. And so don't think that when I use the term daddy issues or any of the terms that I'm going to use tonight, this is only about women. This is about fatherless generation, those who are fatherless adults who are dealing with trauma from their childhood. Before preparing for tonight, I didn't actually even consider how the term attachment styles translate into our ability to parent and co-parent. But as I was getting ready for tonight, there were some things that just kept popping out, and I kept saying, okay, so how we attach to things actually can be a real issue within how we parent and co-parent. I say it all the time. If you do not heal your fatherless journey, you will parent from it. You will parent from the trauma of it. You will be afraid of your children. Like, if they leave, what does that look like? I've seen it up close and personal. You will not heal that fatherless pain. If you don't heal that fatherless pain, you will parent from it, and you will actually allow your children to manipulate, control, get away with things because you're so afraid of losing them. You're holding on so tightly. And I want to talk to you just a little bit about attachment styles. I did this in my I've Got Daddy Issues page before, where I put the link in where people could actually see. This is insanity. I have no idea why this won't. Um, it will not allow. It's only news feeds. That is just weird. Only let me do it and share the news feeds on friends' timelines and in a group. Since when, Facebook? Since when? Um, my my core audience is on a different page. Um, and so let's get into this just a little bit. I only have a limited amount of time, so I better hurry up, right? I better hurry up as I talk about this. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of attachment styles. Attachment styles, people talk about this, and this is based on how you um, connect. I'm trying to use regular terms. How you connect to a person in relationships. Okay, when you get into a relationship, how you attach. I mean, it's attachment styles. That's the word I can use. How you attach to the person. They say when you have an absent, abusive, and emotionally unavailable parent, there's a few unhealthy attachment styles that you can develop in your adult life. And this is all about attachment theory. So a fearful avoidant is an actual adult who um, they draw someone close only to push them away. They're the kind of person who they reject before they get rejected. They actually experience a lot of conflicting emotions about the relationships, and intimacy can make them literally like commitment phobic. They can get very, when intimacy comes up, they can be very guarded. They don't want the intimacy. And typically when challenges arise in the relationship, they're the ones who run. They would rather run than try to work things out due to the difficulty and even having trust issues when it comes to feeling safe with people. That is a fearful avoidant. Okay. And the term fearful avoidant gives you even a glimpse, when you think about it, into what this actually looks like, right? And so I want you, as I'm describing this, to think about, what kind of person am I in a relationship? And then also, if I'm a parent, am I parenting the same way that I am in relationships? Am I fearful avoidant in my relationships? That right there alone is like an interesting, like, and let me be clear. I had not seen anything about this. As I begin to prepare, it kept coming up, this attachment style. And I'm like, wait a minute, how does this go together, even in how we parent? And so I'm not the kind of person that I'm like on here and I know everything. I want you to be able to say, you know what? That gives me insight into how I parent and why I parent the way I parent. A lot of people don't realize they're parenting from their trauma. You're parenting from the place of your childhood trauma. And if you have a fatherless journey, you're definitely going to parent from that if you have not healed it. Okay, so fearful, avoidant. I'm afraid of commitment. I'm afraid of being rejected, hurt, abandoned, and all of those things. So I'm going to do that before that's done to me. And when there's any conflict of any sort, I am going to be the one who runs. I do not necessarily like intimacy because it makes me feel fearful. It makes me feel like I need to avoid it because we didn't develop those feelings as a kid. You didn't learn how to develop those things. Here's another one: anxious, preoccupied. Now, when I took my test, because there's a test and there's a link that you can take and it shows you who you are. I was 50% secure, which you want to be secure, right? I was 50% secure. I was 33% anxious, preoccupied. And then I was the rest, whatever that was, fearful, avoidant, which made me happy because that meant that there was a part of me that was solid and, and that was during one of the roughest seasons of my life. So if I take the test again, maybe I'll score a little higher. That was a very difficult time in my life and in my marriage and in my relationship. And so I was shocked that I didn't score higher as anxious, preoccupied. But anyway, anxious, preoccupied is about a person who is insecure and they're struggling with low self-esteem. They tend to be clingy, demanding, obsessively worried about every little bit of the relationship, and then they are starved for love. Research typically tells us that insecurely attached women are more likely to have this attachment style. And the reason I say that is because at that time, my marriage was dealing with some things that I was very insecure about. I was very much so I wasn't dealing with it very well at all. And so I understood why I definitely scored in this area. But research is very interesting when it talks about women who are insecurely attached. Um, I'll pause for a moment. As I'm going through these, I found it very interesting. I'm gonna get to the next one. I found it very interesting how fatherless women respond and how fatherless men respond to attachment styles or relationships and becoming attached was almost inverted. Okay, or how fatherless men respond to custody and parenting time issues was completely in like it was opposite. Okay, men tend to, when they're trying to fight for custody, it's from this insecure place, this low self-esteem place. They become demanding, obsessively worried about every little thing, every little bit, every little, right? The next one: avoidant, dismissive. Avoidant dismissive is typically someone who comes off, they're very independent, self-assured, and they will dismiss the idea that they need anybody to be whole and complete. Anybody. They may desire and crave and find physical intimacy, but will avoid emotional entanglement and mask their feelings when faced with emotionally challenging situations. Now that right there, that's that. Like it's almost like you feel like, oh, this is the person it's great. And then they're emotionally unavailable completely. Their emotions didn't get developed. I can honestly say when I think about um, daddy issues and how this could impact how individuals parent, kind of blown away. I'm kind of blown away. I find it intriguing how fatherless men and women have seemingly, because it's relationships, right? I mean, and I'm thinking through this even more so while I'm talking to you. It's relationships. And so when it's relationships, even when it's with your children, how you attach, we talk about when a child is born, a mother must do skin to skin contact in order to develop that bond already, to create that bond. Attachment is how you bond. Attachment style is how you connect with the person. Excuse me. How you connect with the person. And I'm telling you, I'm blown away by how attachment styles can actually be a way in which we connect with our children, not just romantically. I want to look, I want to be able to, in this conversation, help you understand which attachment style you are in relationships, like romantic relationships, but most importantly, which one are you in your relationship with your children and how you parent, and absolutely how you co-parent. 1,000% how you co-parent. I want to know what that looks like. I want to know how that's manifesting in your journey. Unless we post this in my page's story. I'm sorry, I'm kind of bewildered. There it is. I'm telling you, Facebook, you are trying to, yeah. It shows up now. That's okay. We press. We fight. Okay? We don't give up. We do not give up. And look, let me say this as well. I've had to press and fight through things you wouldn't even imagine. You wouldn't even believe. And I say that because even my surroundings. I am not in the US. And that's another reason why my social media is just, Facebook is, yeah, they know I'm not in the US. They're very, very aware of that because I got these emails and these promptings that I was having limited visibility or something like that. I have had to fight to do this work. I will not give up on you. I will not stop sharing with you and expressing to you. There was a season where Healing Tuesdays was very difficult. It was very difficult to do because there comes a point where you're questioning, am I telling these people, like, is this real? Because it's not working in my family dynamic. I will tell you, there are people in my family who will not listen to this. And they definitely won't agree with it like this. But then go behind the scenes and start doing counseling and therapy and asking about who's my dad and all these other things and looking for their dad, and never come through me. And I'm not offended by that. But what I am disappointed in is that you'll try to disregard me while you're going through your fatherless stuff when you can just come to your family member and I can help you through that journey. However, that made it very difficult for me for a little while because there were things happening on the inside of my house and in the inside of my family where I was trying to figure, I'm like, why don't this work? Why aren't they getting it? Why aren't they understanding? They actually have this person on the inside of the house with them. They have this person accessible to them, and they don't want to hear it. But it goes back to, if you don't heal it, you can't hear it properly. You can't hear from the place that you need to hear from. You hear from the broken place. And there's someone in my life that I used to say, your filter's broken. Like, how you hear and twist that thing, there is something really off. But what's off about it is it's trauma. The trauma will have you hear things that are not there. The trauma will have you hear things or misread things and twist things that that are there. And I'm looking at attachment styles going, okay, so we can attach to anything improperly when we have trauma. Attachment is how we connect with our community. Attachment is how we connect with our friends and our friends. Attachment is how we connect with our family. Attachment is how we connect, and I want to even use the word bond as I used earlier, with our children. And if there is trauma in your life, you better believe that attachment theory is is definitely somewhere in the midst of that. Are you secure with your children? Are you securely? And look, let me be clear. I'm not a parent yet. Oh, it's coming. Okay. It's so coming. And so um, I recognize that some people will say, well, you're not a parent and you don't understand. I do understand. I understand that every child is eventually going to come to their parent and say, you messed this up. I understand that there are no perfect parents. But what I want you to realize is you have to heal in the midst of being a parent most times so that you don't parent from this dysfunctional place and your children don't have to heal from having you as a parent. I've seen that quote. I love that quote. That ain't mine, and I ain't going to take it. You want to heal as a parent so your children don't have to heal from you being their parent. And so, dealing with these attachment styles, what that looks like. Are you fearful in your parenting style? Are you a parent who lacks emotion in your parenting style? Are you a parent who's insecure and you have low self-esteem about how you parent? And I'm not just talking about the low self-esteem, like, oh my God, am I getting this right? Am I doing this right? Okay, let me go over here. Let me go to this parenting class. Some people are actually doing the work with the intention of being the best parent they can be. That is obvious. That is a real thing. But some people out here just, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm struggling through life. I haven't healed any part of my childhood trauma because I don't believe I got any. I'm good. And you're not. And your children are going to experience that. I want to say this as well. In the cases of, this father-daughter dynamic, when a girl has an emotionally and physically unavailable father, she doesn't learn how to interact in a healthy way, in relationships. She's not learning that. She's not learning how to interact with men in a healthy way. And I know some of you will say, well, my daughter had mentors, my daughter had this and that, my daughter had this, not, I won't even say stepfather because you do get to see it in the home. It's not with your biological father, but you get to see it at home. She may not know what it looks like, um, or what a healthy relationship with a man looks like. And so she's never seen it. She doesn't know. So she just she's doing the best she can, how she knows. And she finds herself um, in abusive relationships and relationships with um, men who are indifferent towards her. And that is challenging in a way that I don't think people really realize. When you have a father who is not present physically or emotionally, some people, you know, tried to come for me on my personal page about, oh, well, people can be fatherless and have a two-parent home. And I hate when we try to add this dynamic. Well, fatherlessness is a man who's in the home and who's emotionally absent. Yes, that is very true. Well, not every two-parent home is perfect. We can't do, like, come on, y'all. We're looking for issues within the two-parent home to justify our single-parent home. We can't do that. I know you guys want to do that. I think we need to very much so keep them separate so that we don't try to take the statistics and twist them for our benefit. Fatherless statistics are what they are. Fatherless statistics are very real. And I know many people don't want that to be the case. You don't want that to be what it is, but they're very, very real. And an emotionally absent or an abusive or indifferent father could actually lead to a young woman or a young girl to have a fear that she doesn't deserve love or deserves to be treated poorly by men. When you as a woman or as a young girl have been treated poorly, dad not present, indifferent, abusive, in and out of your life, you think you deserve that as a woman. And I know many of you say, I think I deserve blah, 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 blah. And I think I prove it. There's some of you who are very confident you did the work. You've already done the work of healing. And that's the difference. At least you started something. Others, your relationships actually tell what you really believe about yourself. How you allow someone to treat you without standing up for yourself tells you exactly what you deserve or what you think you deserve. Let me be clear. If my dad is in and out of my life, we have the propensity, or I would have the propensity, to allow a man to come in and out as he desires. If I'm unhealed, if I haven't started to deal with some of this. And even as I say that, let me even, healing is an ongoing process. It is ongoing. It is never ending. And so there's no one who's totally healed and got it together. You know, we hear these comments that people say, I'm looking for somebody who's, and ladies, this tends to be us. I'm looking for somebody who's healed. You know, they whole, they got their life together. They got this together. They got that together. They're already perfect. I hate to tell you, but that's not the purpose of a relationship. You want someone who's already started doing the work of healing. And the older you get, you want them further along in the journey of healing. If you're in your 20s, you got to know that people, they may not quite be aware, but you want them aware enough that they've already sought coaching, counseling, things of that nature, so that they can start the process of healing their childhood trauma. You in your 30s, bruh, sis, you need to really be moving in that direction. Because what will happen is you will be playing out like a movie, like a movie scene, your very own childhood that you swore for God you wasn't going to repeat. You swore for God you were never going to get. This is not how. And you will do it because you don't have the tools not to. We repeat the patterns in our lives that we have not healed. We will look in the mirror and swear that we will be the best father we can possibly be, and we will be there for our children. And you will be this and be that and do this and do that. But you've not done the work to do that. And so then you feel inadequate when you have children and you find yourself just, I'm out. Remember, I just talked about an attachment style that does that, right? That just disappears. Rather, that's the fearful avoidant. How many of you know some fearful avoidant men who've decided that children are better off without me? That's an attachment style. They don't necessarily want it to be that way. That's a part of the undeveloped emotions and feelings that are in their lives. Okay? So here's the other thing. Men who didn't have the positive father figure, because, I ain't just on the women, during their childhood, they actually struggle with a number of these issues. Without a male model of what a healthy relationship actually looks like with women and a family looks like, these men will insecurely attach. Wow, this one right here was crazy to me. These men insecurely attach. These insecurely attached men may grow up to be absent or abusive fathers and partners themselves. It's amazing to me how we create. We're born in dysfunction and chaos, and we see it, and everything in us doesn't want to repeat it, but somehow we do. They may also have low self-esteem, difficulty regulating their emotions. A great book on how to regulate your emotions and your nervous system is The Body Keeps the Score. It's a great book. Then there's another book, Claim Your Power. Claim Your Power. Jesus, Torri. He was my coach for like a year. Maston Kip. I'm like, how I'm forgetting these names? Because it's 4:30 in the morning. And I know y'all like, no, it's not. It's 9. No, it's 4:30 in the morning for me. It's 4:30. If you're like, it's 9:30. No, it's 4:30. For real. And so Maston Kip, these are great books because you're like, what do you mean regulating your emotions? You didn't learn as a kid how to regulate your emotions. You did not learn how to even sit in them sometimes and just feel them. So you avoid them. I got to get out of here. I can't. Oh no, I can't. Or you're just overly feeling. You're just always feeling. I'm a feeler, but I have my emotions are regulated in the right kind of way because I'm not the kind of person who's not going to feel. So I feel it. I know how to sit in it. I know how to recognize when I'm feeling those things, even more so now in this season of my life. Oh my God. And here's the other part with men. Um, when they didn't have a positive father figure, they have trouble opening up and making themselves vulnerable to others. And this truly hinders their ability to build trusting and intimate relationships. They can't connect properly. It goes back to attachment styles. It goes back to attachment styles. I thought this was interesting. If you have an insecure attachment style, which are the three that I've talked about, fearful, avoidant, anxious, preoccupied, avoidant, dismissive, did you know you're at a higher risk of chronic pain, major depression, suicide, and substance abuse? I need to get one of my licensed therapist friends on here for this. And I think I know the right person because I think this is worth drilling in on and doing a part two because I don't think you guys realize how much you are parenting from this place. I don't think you realize how much, I don't think you realize it. Here's the even crazier part, the absence or unavailability of a mom or a dad, even a caregiver, right? Each takes its own particular toll and can manifest in sons and daughters differently. People used to ask me all the time, who do you think is more affected by fatherlessness? Who do you think is more affected by fatherlessness? And I would say both are affected equally yet different. I would say that all the time. It's the same impact, it's the same level of hurt, pain, trauma, but it's yet different in how it comes out. It's yet different how it plays out in their lives. But we're all having relationship issues. I have a thought that, social media is an insane thing. And I have to, like, I got to detox at some point. I got to take a sabbatical at some point. But I've been posting about the journey that I'm on. And as I'm posting about this journey that I'm on, I want to, I have to get on social media. I may do it like a calendar thing and have it already ready to go. Um, and just set it up where I don't even have to get on. But I'm watching social media and you see these podcasts or these people, commenting. TikTok, I'm on TikTok and I went viral on TikTok and I was just like, this is way too much. So TikTok, I can't do. TikTok is abusive, is bullying, is like, whoo, Jesus. When you have a conversation people aren't ready to hear, you find yourself being called a lot of names. That is just like, I don't know if I got the tough skin for that. I'm working on it. Um, I'm working on it. But you see a lot of people who are talking about the challenges in relationships, why relationships aren't working, what men should be doing. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. What men should be doing and why men aren't doing it. Oh, we got the modern woman and we got this and that. I heard a man say something powerful, so powerful the other day. He was like, number one, if you ain't willing to pay all the bills, this is a sidebar. If you don't have the ability to pay all the bills in the house, you need to stop talking about modern women and get yourself out of that conversation because you are not the kind of man that a woman can rely on. And another guy said, or the same guy said in the same conversation, he said, if you give a woman a hard life, don't expect her to be your peace and be soft. And unfortunately, brothers, a lot of you from this fatherless generation who have unhealed trauma are giving women a hard life. You're giving them a hard life. You're giving them a hard life. And then you become the one who decides, you know what? I'm fearful avoidant. So I'm out after I've given you a hard life, destroyed you, broke you down, tore you up, whatever else. And I'm leaving you and the children. That is your daddy issues. Those are your daddy issues coming forth because you don't feel like, you know what? You're better off without me. The children are better off without me. You know how many times people say that? I've heard that recently. Like, what? So you don't want to do the work to be the better person so that you can stay in the relationship with your spouse, with your partner, and be the father in the home that you need to be. That's deep to me. That's really deep to me. My brain is like, what? Hmm? And then women, you are so doggone independent and avoidant, dismissive in your attachment style. I'm independent. I'm self-assured. I got my education. I can take care of the kids financially. I can do this, but you can't develop them emotionally in the areas that the dads are supposed to. You don't have the ability to do that. And someone who's not their biological father can't necessarily give them that either fully, because there's something about biology. There's something about knowing a pattern in a family line that makes it necessary to have a biological father present. Someone said on my page, when I was doing Healing Tuesday last week, they were saying, as long as the man is healthy, mentally, emotionally, I think is what they were getting at, then this applies. And I was like, moms aren't that healthy either. So why do we put this caveat on men who, you got to be healthy. You got to be healthy and whole and this and that in order to come into this sphere to be a parent. No, you need to be working on your health and your mental health. You need to be working on your wholeness, just like moms, just like women. That's what you need to be doing. But we find, ladies, you so doggone independent. You don't need a man for nothing. You don't need him for nothing. And therefore, your children don't think you need men for anything. I don't know if you saw that video. I'm the single mom. I'm still getting these videos from these women. They have been so busy that other women are like, Torri, I'm coming. They've emailed me multiple times. I'm like, okay. I know mothers are busy. But that single mom said in our peer group, we discovered and had to tell the mama. Her daughters were like, okay, we're in this class, but for what? Men aren't needed. They said this. Men aren't, what do you mean, men? Fathers. That's not necessary. And I think I told you guys this before. Even the kids in the group were like, and we were like, they were like, one little girl, I think, started to try to do the sex education thing. And it was like, no, you're not going to do sex ed in here. And we don't have parents' permission. Like, put a pause on that. And it just got really weird. And when we began to talk, they really didn't think you needed a man for anything. What you need a man for? And the mom realized that she had been so independent. There had been no men really in their lives to pour into them up close and personal. They just thought, I don't need that. That's what's happening to your children. And then that goes into a new generation because it's manifesting differently. And I think often daddy issues, people associate that with women and sex. Oh, she got daddy issues. She out here giving out free love and all of this other stuff. And in some ways, some of y'all out here giving out like straight love, but you giving it out for a bag, be flued out, phone bill paid. Like how you give it out is different. And you think that that's not rooted in trauma, but it is. And I honestly think, going back to, I digressed a few times, going back to what I was talking about, social media, I honestly think the reason we are having so many conversations on relationships and the challenges in relationships is because the fatherless generation the fatherless generation has come to the forefront of society and relationships, because we're all within this age of this generation that started this is all within a certain age, and the relationships are looking horrible. It's looking absolutely horrible. And people are like, that ain't it. I don't want that either. Oh, that's bad. There's something that I want to point out as well. As I'm talking and some of the things that I typed out, I noticed something in the two different dynamics about girls and absent fathers and boys and absent fathers. There were a few words that popped out: unavailable, fearful, unhealthy, relationships, insecure, emotions, trust, vulnerable, intimate. And these tend to be the things that we didn't get because we didn't see two parents loving on each other, being in love with each other. showing us how to just be with a partner. Um, that, just looking at those words and then popping up, it was like, as I'm typing this out and thinking about what I'm going to say to you tonight, I see all of these words that are just like, it speaks to the pain and trauma that we have. It speaks to why we have so many broken relationships. It speaks to why we can't quite get there. Oh, it was better for me to leave and because you can't have two children in the house and see and them seeing their parents fighting and that kind of thing. Well, why don't you get the help you need so you're not in the house fighting? And I said that how I wanted to say that. Why is that the conversation? Why isn't it getting the help that you need? Or the other person getting the help that they need? Because in a lot of relationships, it's one person who's doing all the work, getting all the stuff, doing all that they need. And it's the other person sitting on the sideline going, I'm good. I don't need nothing. I'm fine. Pride is a hell of a drug. Making your partner and your spouse wrong so that you can live however you want to live. It's time out for that. You know why? Because you have children or you have children that you're supposed to have coming forth. And so you got to get that together. Your children don't deserve that. Oh, it was better off because we was fighting all the time and the kids, they didn't need to grow up in an unhealthy household. So you swapped what healthy looked like for them. You swapped it. And sometimes when you do that, you make individuals, there's a couple things you can cause to happen. You can make someone say, okay, you know what? My mother and my father were very much so secure in their attachment style, and they decided to get out of that toxic relationship. And so when I see toxic relationships, I now have the tools to not be involved in a toxic relationship. There are others who will see that and interpret that from their childhood mentality and say, oh, when it gets challenging, I'm out. Oh, when it gets, okay, got it. I get out of here. I believe that's really about, once again, how parents attach, the things that they say, and how you break that down to your children in the midst of divorce or in the midst of a breakup. I know for a fact, talking about me, seasons in my marriage that attachment style of anxious preoccupied was very real. I found myself afraid of the abandonment and rejection that could come in a relationship. And I look back and I'm like, I don't know if that's solely about my father as much as it has been about some of the things I've experienced in relationship with my husband. Because you watch as their attachment style is manifesting, and you're like, oh child, you would be out of here in a heartbeat. Like you would just disappear. You can feel it and you can see it. And I think there was some duality playing out about the abandonment and rejection that caused me to be a little clingy at times, needing that extra reassurance in the relationship completely and totally. What happens sometimes with us thinking our fatherless journey, even when you've done a lot of work and you've healed it, it can manifest. And then you find yourself compounding the trauma in your adult relationships when it comes to that rejection, abandonment piece, or any aspect of the trauma that you've experienced. But for me, I think there was some compounded trauma that really was making me clingy, you know, in my attachment style. And it was not always. And I know some people are like, well, I'm not clingy and I'm not. No, 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 no. Let me be clear. It's not all the time. It's during times where the relationship is stressed. There's an argument going on. It hasn't been cleared up. And it's all these things that are happening that are creating this. I wasn't always clingy. That's another thing. But when it felt like things were on the line and we were, and all of that, that's when all of that, I'm being triggered. How many of you know when you're being triggered? I learned most people don't know when they're being triggered. They just think that's part of their response. Child, bye. You're being triggered. You're being triggered. And that's why you start getting into, you can really feel your attachment styles coming to the surface. I needed a lot of reassurance during certain seasons. Your relationship with your father plays a critical role in your development, and it has a long-lasting impact and effect on the quality of your childhood from your teenage years all the way into your adult years. What I think is interesting that most people don't even think about in the midst of life and dating, your attachment style, your daddy issues, the role your father played in your life and the development, it affects everything. And here's the interesting, it even affects the men and women that you date and how you relate to them. It affects all of that. Did you ever think that you were picking a partner out of the hopes that you could replay out this brokenness that you have with your father, hoping that this situation will help you get it right, will help you have a different ending? Have you ever watched a movie and was like, man, I ain't like that ending. Man, it should have ended like this, and this, and this. And you want to redo the ending. That's what attachment style, like that's what happens, not only in attachment styles, but in the dating process. When you have not healed your trauma from your fatherless pain, you will end up picking a partner like your absent father without even knowing it. You'll pick someone like that. I read an article the other day. A friend sent me this article. I think it's worth pulling up. She sent me this article and she was like, oh, it's funny that she just commented on, she sent this to me. She said, I thought of you when I was reading this. And it's about West Side Boogie, right? And West Side Boogie is a rapper, for those who don't know. And he's talking about healing his journey, is healing his trauma one bar at a time, right? So one lyric at a time, one rap song or whatever at a time. And so they say he's been in this hold on, I want to get to a certain part. He grew up in Compton with his father largely absent from his life. His mom told him that she dumped him because of his debilitating gambling habits, and he later deserted his son's life when he was 3 or 4 years old. Now, here's something. So let me summarize this. What was super interesting was when he would get triggered or stressed in relationships, in life, he would find himself gambling. And he had to go. He would even bet money he said that he didn't have. Hadn't seen his father since he was 7 years old. Here's what's funny. He was out gambling one night and he looked up and his father was staring at him. His father was sitting right there, right across from him, staring at him, because somehow he had repeated this pattern. And he's looking up going, he hadn't seen his father since he was 7 years old, but here he was exactly where his mother's stories would have started, that he would find him. His mother's stories would start with this conversation of your daddy was a gambler, blah, 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 all of this stuff. He said, I'm grateful for the lessons that the universe gives you. I'm grateful for the lessons the universe gives you. And then he said, during the first phone conversation, his father would share his stories. He said, you got to be aware that it's a lesson in it and don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. So he started to add these things to his lyrics. I have not listened to his music, but this led me to like, okay, I put it in my music, my Apple Music. And so when I'm working out later on today, I'm going to be listening. I'm definitely going to listen to it. He has a lot of things to say about Black men in his music and the hurdles that they have to deal with on a regular basis. And he feels like we just make it normal, that we're overcoming obstacles because we're so used to the struggle and the challenges that we don't even think of ourselves as superheroes. So that's something I thought was super, like, crazy interesting. He said, we just look at it as normal. And so I'm going to put this link in the comments, just so, let me put it in here now, so you can have it, because I found this article fascinating, and I'll post it on the page as well. But I found the article fascinating. One of my favorite rappers, Kendrick Lamar, he even talks about daddy issues in his latest album. And it was like, man, this is crazy. Like, it was confirmation to me that I was on the right path and on the right plane, when I decided to do my podcast and name it Daddy Issues, because a lot of us are having them. And one of the things Kendrick Lamar says in one of the songs is, the girl is like, oh, you need to go to therapy. And he's like, man, you tripping. Man, nah, man. We all need to go to therapy. Even when you don't think you have issues. And go to the therapist and tell the therapist the truth. Don't be going up in there lying and talking about people and being, because that's what people do. And I pray that you have a really great therapist who can see through the BS, right? See through the trash. Some of y'all be in there talking complete trash. You got to find the right person. And I ain't saying the right person who only calls you out, but I want the right person who can see through your trauma and your pain. When you sitting up in there talking about, I ain't got no trauma, I ain't got no issues. 600-Pound Life shows us when those people go to the place to get the help and all the stuff, where does he send them? He sends them to therapy. You know why? Because their childhood trauma is playing out. Oh, this is taking me through a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want any, see, never mind. See, you got me doing too much. Never mind. I just wanted to pull up this article, and now they got me going through subscribe, all these other things. I don't want all of this. I just want the article. I'm going to see if I can just take this link she already sent me and put it where I need to put it. But you need to go to therapy. Therapy is necessary for us all. For us all. Okay. So, hopefully, prayerfully, that link will work for you, and you will be able to look at that article. He's like, I'm healing my fatherless trauma. Because I was sitting up in here gambling, dealing with my pain the exact same way as the man who left me and I haven't seen since I was 7. How does that happen? I keep talking to you about patterns that you are repeating, even though everything in you doesn't want to. Everything in you says no. Everything in you says, I want to go that way. But everything in you drives you this way. You haven't been developed. You don't have the tools to go that way. You need to get into therapy. You need to find a therapist who is going to do and teach you what it is you need to learn. It will help you release negative feelings, anger, frustration, all of these things that are actually stored up and held in your body, and you don't even realize it. That's why the body keeps the score. My God. My God. That book teaches a whole lot. A whole lot. So I am coming up on my time. I have a few things going on this week as far as lives on my personal page. I actually shared this from my personal page on TFGF's page, so you should be able to see my personal page. It is public as well. I don't accept all friend requests. That ain't a thing. But you can watch it from my page. Here's the conversation. I've been on my personal page talking about fatherlessness is a curse, or spiritual battle rooted in a curse. Absentee fatherhood is a curse. Single moms or motherhood is a curse wrapped, from rooted in witchcraft. Nobody said anything about fatherlessness being a curse. Nobody said anything about absentee fatherhood being a curse. But as soon as a sister girl said single motherhood is a curse wrapped in witchcraft, child, my inbox lit up. Some people were commenting. And even when I said a few weeks ago, single motherhood is not necessarily a badge of honor. Like, it's just not. I get how you're supposed to honor, and your mother stayed and she fought. But the Bible says honor your mother and your father. So I think we're adding badges in a way that, and you're adding a badge to something that is dysfunctional in its conception. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. So on Thursday, 4 p.m. your time, 11, 11? No. Yes, 11 p.m. my time. I am going to have a conversation about, is single motherhood a curse? And I didn't call you cursed. I'm calling the role a curse. See? Listen, like, child, listen. Because I think women are hearing me say that they're cursed. Did I say that? No, I did not. Did not. The role itself is curse. I'm going to break it down to you why that is from a biblical, statistical perspective. We're going to get into this thing. I'm going to give you some definitions of what curse is, what a curse is. Even fatherlessness in America, we call it an epidemic, but it's happening everywhere. So it's a pandemic. Pandemic is a plague. A plague is a curse. It's simple. And you think, although you're in the fatherless generation, that your experience is different than everybody else. It actually is, but it's still a curse. Still a curse. So that's something I'm going to do on Thursday. I will share it on this page as well. But I want to see people set free. And if you don't have the information, you can't be set free. If you don't know what's going on, you can't be set free. Can't happen. So I'm here to help set you free biblically, but just doing it this way. I have come to set, as the scripture says, to set the captives free. Those who are in bondage, held captive. Many of you don't even know you're in bondage and you're held captive. I'm going scripture real quick. You don't even know you're in bondage because your bondage is so normal to you. And just like when I posted that single motherhood is a curse wrapped in witchcraft, you guys come to the defense of the idea of single motherhood so much. Even your children, when they want to see their fathers, even when they want to connect with their dads, they can't even say that out loud because you're going to immediately shut that down. You're going to shut it down. Just like you tried to shut me down. Y'all ain't going to silence me. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I know too much. And there's no way I am not going to speak the truth that I know to ensure that others are free. Okay? So I want you to go back to attachment styles. I'm also going to I'll find that link again that has the quiz that you can take, and it'll tell you your attachment styles. And you need to really grab a hold of your attachment style so you know how you're parenting. And next week, I've just skimmed this a little bit. I'm like, I need to see if I can I got somebody, see if I can get them on here. And I'm pretty sure they know, even if I have to pre-record it. I've seen her work. She deals heavily in attachment styles. How you co-parenting? What attachment style are you in your co-parenting situation? Like, how does that work exactly? I want to talk about this because I think this is why so many people, let's say the relationship isn't going to work out and it's over. But now how you co-parent with this person that you have a broken relationship with is dysfunctional. Co-parenting situations, majority of the time, are not healthy and they're not good. Oh, I got it, great, and it's fantastic. Yeah, but then as soon as the other person gets married, now you got a problem. It was good when they were single. It was good when they had a girlfriend in where they live, but and then they come see you and act like y'all family, but you wasn't a family. And as long as you ain't know about the other chick. Oh yeah, that was a real situation. A real situation. As long as they didn't see the person. But as soon as the wife shows up We got issues happening. We got issues happening. Oh no, I'm fine with it. I'm this and that. Child tried to call and stop the wedding. Do you hear me? Called and called and called trying to stop the wedding. Oh yeah, I'm talking about my own situation. How about that? People are oblivious to what's really going on behind the scenes because this person is like, whew, I wouldn't wish this on my own worst enemy. Okay. It is just ridiculous to me. Anyway, I am going to make sure you guys have that link for Thursday. Continue to stay engaged with the foundation. We're going to start listing the new peer groups that we've launched, and how you can connect to them. Is really trying to get all of these links up and do all of this work with the website so that people can click the link and get to where they need to get to, and go to the Boys and Girls Clubs or community centers. That's something I'm really, really working hard on. And then I am in Africa launching the foundation in 2 countries, 3 cities, and then doing a tour. So you won't see me in the States for just a little bit now. It'll be a little bit. And so as I continue to move and everything is locked in here, I will start putting out information about where the foundation is in Africa for those, because I do see our analytics, and we have quite a few people who watch from South Africa, Nigeria, Zambia, Kenya. So I'll make you aware as to where things are, where you can get the help that you need, things of that nature. Okay. I am Dr. Torri J. I am so grateful that I was able to have this conversation, this think tank kind of thing with you tonight. And let me see if I can get one of my therapist friends on next week to really hone in on how this is attachment styles is affecting your co-parenting relationships. Can I have that conversation? I'm already gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put the whole process. I'm putting it out there in just a few minutes. You're gonna see it show up on the page. I'm putting it out there. How is your attachment style impacting your co-parenting relationship? My God, we just skimmed the surface of this tonight, and I'm thinking, and I hope that I'm making you think. All right, I'm gonna get off of here. It's time for me to go to bed because it's gonna be daylight in about 54 minutes. So I'm grateful for those who were able to tune in, those who watch later. Inbox me. Tell me what you think. I want to know your ideas. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you.